Diane, thank you very much for that government update. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to begin our three keynote speakers. I would like to remind you that please, any questions, please go into the Q&A box at the bottom of the page. At the end of the presentations, we will have live Q&A. For our first speaker this morning, I would like to introduce Van Mueller. As part of his many distinguished accomplishments, Van is honored that he has begun his 47th year as an insurance agent. He's an active member of MDRT, having qualified for Court of the Table in 1990 and top of the table for the last 30 years. Van was awarded the Milwaukee NAIFA Distinguished Service Award for 2003, and in 2010, Van was a proud recipient of the A. Jack Nussbaum Distinguished Service Award for NAIFA, Wisconsin. Without further ado, Van Mueller.
All of you in New Jersey. It's very exciting for me. I don't know whether you know this, but my grandma and grandpa had a drugstore in Cranford, New Jersey. I used to go all the time, and one of my very best friends lives in Cherry Hills, New Jersey. I love Jersey. I'm a Jersey person. So thank you for letting me share some ideas and some time with you. Let me start this way. This is the greatest time ever to be an insurance and financial professional. Whether you know that or not, it's important that when you're done with this morning's speakers, that what you derive from it is that this is the greatest time ever to be an insurance and financial professional. And second, listen to me very carefully. This is the greatest time ever to sell cash value life insurance. For the first time ever in the history of our business, if you sell cash value life insurance, you're the competition. Nobody can touch you with what's about to happen in our country and our world. And so I want to share with you a couple of things, and then I want to talk to you about how to get more appointments. Because, you know, the hardest thing in our business is to have enough appointments. Do you know studies by LIMRA have shown that 95% of the agents in America don't have enough appointments? And so wouldn't it be wise to start there if you wanted to have a successful career, to build a way that you could have enough appointments that you would do well? In fact, you know, it's really funny. I was talking to a guy about maybe a month and a half ago, and he was bragging to me about how good he is when he's in a sales appointment. He said, boy, you know, Van, he said, when I get in front of somebody, they're toast. I sell them. And I said, boy, can I ask you a question? He said, yeah. I said, how many times a week does that happen? And he said, well, once or twice. And I said, boy, that brings up another question. Can I ask? He said, go ahead. I said, what if they cancel? What happens? And he says, yeah, that's a problem. Sometimes I go 2 and 3 weeks without even having an appointment. It's scary to me. I said, so let me ask you something. If we could show you how, in an easy manner, just by learning some great questions, that you could increase your production to 10 appointments a week, would that change your career? And he started to cry. He said, oh my God, yes, absolutely. It would change everything for me. He said, I'm under such pressure all the time, and having 2 appointments a day, every day, 5 days a week, oh my God, that would be spectacular. Well, that's what my responsibility is here today. I know I only have 35 minutes, but I want you to understand, this is a learned skill. You can learn how to do this. I'm not charming. I'm not well-spoken. I'm not any of those things. Somebody came to me 30 some years ago and said, hey, if I teach you a way, will you practice it so you can become very, very good? And it changed my life. For 16 years, the first 16 years I was in the business, I was probably the worst insurance agent in America. I'm actually probably the reason there's now compliance in our industry. That's really bad. And then I lucked out. I got fired, and somebody took care of me and taught me these things that I want to share with you today as quickly and as efficiently as possible. And now I went from being probably one of the worst agents in America to I've now qualified for top of the table 30 years in a row. And I qualified during the pandemic in April for my 30th year in a row. And I'm looking forward to one of my best years of my career next year. So this is something you can all learn how to do. All you have to do is pick a few questions that I'm going to talk to you about, and you will get better. But first, I want to show you why. I'm going to do this very quickly. All you have to do is go to usdebtclock.org, and you must take $2 or $3 and buy the app. Do not use the free service. Buy the app, and you can put it on your phone or you can put it on your computer or both, and you can share it with every one of your prospects and clients. And very simply, please, this is a very shortened version of it because I want to get to the questions. This is what it's telling you right now. It is saying that the federal income tax revenue currently in 2020 is $3.4 trillion. And that in 2024, it'll rise to 4.8 trillion. And in 2028, it'll rise to 6.7 trillion. So we know absolutely and positively that income tax revenue at the federal level will double over the next 8 years. And we also know from the US debt clock that currently 47.2% of our GDP goes to federal, state, and local taxes, and that by 2024, that will rise to 51.2%, and by 2028, 55.5%. That means 44% money of our GDP will be available for the private sector to repair itself. That's not going to happen, everybody. So it's vital that you get in front of customers and ask them. Here's a simple question. You say, will you have some fun with me? Pretend you don't know anything about insurance, you don't know anything about finance, you don't know anything about taxes. So just have some fun with me and see, I'd love your opinion. Ask for their opinion. And what you say to them is, would it be more beneficial? Never use the word smarter. Would it be more beneficial for you to take a tax deduction now on a small amount of money and transfer a big amount of money to the future so the government can tax the heck out of it when they need more money in the future? Or would it be more beneficial for you and your family to pay your taxes now when they're historically low and transfer as much money to the future as possible that will never have income tax liability on it again? And you know what they say to me every time? They look at me funny and they say, well, it's obvious, it's the second one. And I say, well, doesn't that really leave another question? And they go, yeah, what is that? Why are you doing the first one? And you think people know this. They don't know. If you ask them, it takes stuff that's in the back of their mind and brings it to the front of their mind. And they're puzzled. They go, yeah, I never thought of it that way. What am I doing? And then I add a couple of more questions on top of it. I say, so let me ask you something. You've made a determination that you would rather build a legacy for the Internal Revenue Service and the government rather than you and your family and your business? You're happy with that? Or I ask them another question. I say, can I ask you another question? This is really important. Would it be better? Would it be more appropriate? Would it be just better for you and your family to pay your taxes when they're on sale? Or would you prefer to wait until you have to pay full price for your taxes? And they're just stunned because nobody talks to them that way. And if you'll notice, so far I haven't told them anything. I'm just asking for their opinion. And they love to give their opinion. They love it. Now here's the second, even scarier part. Because I just told you about income taxes. And we have a lot of wonderful people in our industry. Tom Hagna and Ed Slott and David McKnight, my heroes. They're my people that I look up to, and Bank on Yourself, and all of these programs that are talking about, do you want to pay your taxes now when they're on sale, or do you want to pay your taxes in the future when they're more expensive? But none of them are talking about a bigger, more important tax that's coming. And this one's going to make you cry. According to the US debt clock, in the year 2000, the M2 money supply was 4.8 trillion for our country. And currently, that money supply has risen to 18.8 trillion. So it's gone up 341% since the year 2000. And it will increase to 44 trillion by 2024. And that's another 237% increase. And it will increase to, are you ready? I hope this makes you cry if you have children or grandchildren. They're going to increase the money supply to $105.8 trillion. And the reason they have to do this, everybody, is because they can tax the heck out of everybody in America, and they don't have near enough money to pay for all the stuff they have to pay for. Not only are they going to have to make up the shortfalls on Social Security and Medicare and federal pensions and all the interest on the debt that they're going to have to pay, but the federal government is going to be bailing out the entities that can't print money. And that's the states and the counties and the cities and the townships who are going to need money to make sure that their pensions and their retiree health care and all of their things are going to be okay. And can I show you how bad it is? Illinois and California are actually now using their city streets as collateral for the loans that they're making. They're all going to go hat in hand to the federal government, who's the only entity that can print money, and they're going to ask for a bailout. Now, if you understand what I just explained to you, I just explained to you a thing called the stealth tax, S-T-E-A-L-T-H, a stealth tax. It's also known as inflation. And you want to hear something amazing? The stealth tax affects every person in the United States. If you make $1,000 a year, you pay the stealth tax. If you make $10,000 a year, you pay the stealth tax. If you make $100,000 a year, $1 million a year, $10 million a year, $50 million a year, you pay the stealth tax. And the stealth tax is going to be enormous. And if you want to get a sense for what it'll be like, go back and look and Google 1978 to 1990, when inflation was never less than 5%, never, not one time, and was as high as almost 10% several times. And so what you need to understand is not only are we going to pay an income tax as a country, we're going to pay a stealth tax because the government, I don't care who you're for, doesn't have the courage to tell us that they don't have enough money and that the only way they're going to be able to fix anything is not with taxes and not with printing money. They're going to have to reduce spending, and they will never do it. So you go to your customer. Sounds bad, doesn't it? But it isn't bad, because you have the ability in the United States of America to be in control of what happens with your life. And so all you need to do is sit down and design a strategy that will, first of all, guarantee that you won't lose any money. And second of all, what if you could access the funds in that strategy every time Wall Street, the banks, the government make a blunder, and you can take advantage of it rather than being hurt by it? And finally, what if you could do all of those things with reduced or total elimination of your income tax liability? Wouldn't that be something that every one of your customers would be interested in? Wouldn't they want to know about it? And you're the only people that sell it. You sell cash value life insurance. You sell pennies that buy dollars. You sell guaranteed income that cannot be outlived. You sell mortality credits. The mortality credits are going to be enormous in a zero interest rate environment. And you sell leveraging, pennies that buy dollars and $1 that does the work of many dollars. So how do I get all these appointments? I still run 20 to 30 appointments a week, even during the pandemic. And when there was no pandemic, I was running 30 to 50 appointments a week, and I pay no money to get them. So who do you make these presentations to? Who do you get in front of? Who do you inspire to do this with? And the answer is easy. You start with existing customers. I'm going to read you a couple of things here. You go to your neighbors, your friends, relatives, who you do business with, where you shop, where you have your shoes repaired, where you have your tires changed. Every one of these locations, instead of sitting there and doing nothing, ask a bunch of questions. So I have to go fast because I only have about 2.5 hours left. Oh, I'm joking. I only have a little bit of time left, and I want to cover as many of these questions as possible. So let me show you what I'm doing, and I've done it with every one of my existing customers, and you could start there with yours if you sell life insurance or annuities or mutual funds. You just call up and you say, hi, this is Van Mueller. And the reason we're calling, it's for several reasons. First, we just wanted to check in and make sure that you and your family were okay with all the stuff that's going on in our world. And second, we wanted you to know that we're available to answer any questions that you might have about what's going on in our country. And finally, we just wanted to thank you for your confidence and your loyalty. And we want you to know that we appreciate the business you have with us. And the only way that we know how to thank you for your confidence in us and your loyalty to us is to make sure that you know that we're loyal to you. So it's okay, if it's all right, we'd like to meet with you for 30 or 45 minutes in the next week or two so we can ask you some questions that will clarify for you that you can be in control of what's happening in our country. In fact, I'll even share some of the questions with you. First, are you aware of all the new challenges Americans will face? Higher taxes, higher inflation, more expensive health care, more expensive living costs, all of those things. Second, what if you could be kept safe or be in control of how these challenges affect you and your family? And now watch what I'm about to do. This is very important. Instead of going, oh, I got the greatest thing of all time, I don't do that. They're sick of hearing from people that they do that. Here's what I do. I say, and finally, here's the best part. I couldn't wait to tell you this. And I actually want to apologize to you because this is the part we don't feel we've done a good enough job for you. What if there was a way that every time these events happen for the rest of your life, not only could you be kept safe, what if you could actually take advantage of it? It's the only way we know how to say thank you to you. We're so appreciative of your business and your loyalty, and we want you to know we're loyal to you. Then the best way we could come up to say thank you was to show you this loyalty. So is there any possibility in the next week or two we can get together and we'll figure out the logistics either at your place or my place of business, or we can do it with a Zoom or on the phone. But please, all I'm going to do is ask you some questions that'll help you to clarify how you can be in control of everything that's happening. A lot of multi-line agents should be listening on here, and you can call your entire book. And you call them on the phone and you go, hi, this is Mr. and Mrs. Customer. This is Van Mueller calling from your multi-line agency. We have several very important reasons for calling you today. First and most important, we want to make sure that you and your family are okay. You know, nobody's doing that, you guys. They'll be stunned. They'll love you. Then you say, we also wanted you to know we're available to answer any questions that you might have about what's currently happening in our country. And second, this is very important. We wanted to make sure that we said thank you to you for how loyal you've been to us. And the only way we know how to say thank you in the best way possible is to make sure that you and your family are safe. And we do that by asking you questions that will help you clarify what is happening in our country and how it affects you. And we want you to know there's no cost or obligation for this. We'd even like to give you a general idea of the questions before we meet with you so you can think about it a little bit. We're just looking for your opinion. Why are we doing this? Well, we're trying to find a way to say thank you for your loyalty, and we want to help you to understand we're just as loyal to you. The first series of questions will help you discover all the danger you could face as these national and global challenges unfold. Being aware of the challenges helps you to put you in control of the challenges. Next, wouldn't it be wonderful if you could be kept safe from all the damage caused by these events? And would that be important information? And when would you want to know it? Before or after all this stuff continues to happen? And finally, and this is the best part, this is the part where we just don't feel we've done a good enough job on your behalf. What if we could actually show you how to take advantage of these occurrences when they happen for the rest of your life rather than being hurt by them? If it's okay, we'd love to spend 30 or 45 minutes with you asking these types of questions. It's the only way we know how to thank you for your business and your loyalty. Would you be able to find us sometime in the next week or two? And the last one, because this is Medicare enrollment time, everybody. And so I'm going to show you one that you'd use at point of sale. And I always take my appointment book in when I'm talking to a Medicare customer. And please, I make so many appointments, it's ridiculous. And if you've sold them a Medicare supplement, they've already decided that they like you and trust you with one of the most important things in their life. So all you have to do is just ask them a few other questions. You say, boy, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, I don't know how to thank you for putting your trust in us to help you with your health care. And you notice I keep saying us and we, never I. I sounds egotistical. We sounds like there's a whole bunch of people there to take care of them, and us, it's big, and we're going to look after you, and we're going to make sure you're okay. So we can't tell you how much your faith in us is appreciated. And the only way we know how to say thank you to you is if we could meet with you again in a week or two. We'd like to ask you some questions that will help you clarify whether you understand all the challenges Americans are going to face going forward, and what if you could be kept safe from any of the damage that these events would cause. And finally, and this is the best part, what if you could actually take advantage of these harmful events rather than be hurt by them? Wouldn't that be amazing? I have my appointment book here. It's the only way I know how to say thank you to you for your confidence in us. Couldn't you find 30 or 45 minutes for me to ask you these additional questions in the next week or two? And because I have my appointment book there, I don't have to call them back and make an appointment. I'm making it when they're madly in love with me. They just decided to buy a Medicare supplement or a Medicare Advantage from me. It helps me get in front of them again. And now I'm going to share with you, I have about 10 or 12 minutes left. And what I'm going to share with you, some of the great questions that you can ask when you go back so that you can actually inspire them to take action. And by the way, we have a surprise for you. Because you're on this call, if you will go to my website, vanmueller.com, VANMUELLER.com. If you click on it, underneath my picture is a box that says 40 questions, and they are free to you. If you go and get those 40 questions, you will be able to use some of the questions that I'm sharing with you now, and you'll have them in writing. Second, we're doing another thing for you. Because you're on this call, we're going to allow you, if you buy the November newsletter, we will give you a bonus of 4 additional newsletters, November, December, January, and February in the past. And those 4 newsletters, I will make a bet with anybody listening on this call that if you use the information in those 4 newsletters, you will make $50,000 to $1 million in commissions. Now that's got to be worth $15. So all of this information, and you have access to somebody who has spent 48 years learning how to do this to the best of their ability. And I'm still a work in progress, and I'm still practicing, and I'm still trying to create additional questions. So the hottest question in the business, it should be hotter than hot, because you have 140 million prospects. You have 74 million baby boomers born between 1946 and 1964, and you have 66 million Generation Xers born between 1965 and 1980. So over the next 25 years, you have 140 million Americans turning 65. Now, you want to know how important that number is? We just set a record. In 2016, 138 million people voted in the presidential election. Over 160 million people are going to vote in this election, and 140 million of them are going to be either 65 or turning 65 over the next 25 years. So they're going to be interested in Social Security and Medicare and all of those things. It's hot. And so the question's easy. Mr. and Mrs. Customer, what do you think the best age to take your Social Security is? And before you answer, you know the reason we're asking you? Because according to studies in USA Today and other periodicals, 93% of Americans take Social Security not to their benefit, but to their detriment. And so an important benefit like Social Security is being underutilized because people don't know and understand how to maximize this important benefit. And it's very easy to understand. Most people should defer until age 70, mathematically. The break-even age for Social Security is age 78 to 80. Now, can I tell you the math? Here's the math. A man who's age 65, makes it to age 65, has a life expectancy of age 86. A woman who makes it to age 65 has a life expectancy of age 89, and a married couple, this is a reason to stay married, if they make it to 65, they have a life expectancy where there's a 50% chance that one of them will live till 95 years old. Now, if you don't maximize this important benefit by deferring till 70, you are losing out on all the cost of living increases, The spouse that's left over ends up getting a lower income than they would have qualified for had you maxed out the benefit. I'm going to be 70 next year, and I'm going to take my Social Security then so that my wife will get the best benefit that's available from the Social Security program. And it also raises all kinds of other wonderful planning opportunities, because what ends up happening then is the customer will say stuff to you like, well, Van, how do I get from 62 to 70? And then you say, well, do you understand the new tax law? The new tax law says that you have a $27,800 standard deduction, and that the 10% bracket is another $19,900 in 2021. So round figure 20,000. So you could make up to almost $48,000, and the tax on 20,000 is 10% or $2,000. So you could take out all kinds of fully taxable money and use it to get to age 70, paying little or no income tax liability on it, and you would not be causing your Social Security to be taxable. And then when you get to age 70, you take your Social Security and you take enough of these other benefits so that you could provide a retirement benefit where, again, their Social Security wouldn't be taxed and so forth. It's a wonderful planning opportunity, and you have to make sure that you take advantage of it. That's question number one in my 40 questions. Question number three, I walk up to people all the time and I say, can I ask you something? What if there was a way you could be the beneficiary of your own life insurance policy while you're still alive? And I don't even let them answer. I say, can I ask you, be honest, have some fun. What do most people think you have to do to collect on life insurance? And they say, well, you got to die. And I lean in and I say, what if I told you that the insurance industry has never paid any money to a dead person, ever? That money is there. It's why it's called life insurance, to take care of the people we love, the business we created, and the charity we have considerations for. And then I lean in even further and I say, if you think I want you to die, I don't. What if I could actually show you a way that you could use the benefits of cash value life insurance while you're alive to never lose any money, to take advantage of investment opportunities, to reduce or limit your income tax liability, and you could actually use those same exact dollars for protection. If you had a critical illness like a heart attack, stroke, or cancer, you could access some of the cash value to transition your life without destroying it. If you were in needed long-term care, you could build up enough pile of money in the policy to take advantage of caring for that person in their home rather than in a nursing home. Then you say, here's the two benefits. When you die, the death benefit will replenish all the money that you used while you're alive, so that the person that cared for you will have the money to be cared for. Isn't that amazing? But here's the best surprise. If you never need any of this coverage, you don't waste any money on premiums. And isn't that why most people don't buy these protections? Because they're afraid that it'll pay and pay and pay and never use the benefit. Now you have the benefit because of the strategy you designed. Isn't that amazing? Question number 4, one of my favorites. I go up to people all the time and I say, can I ask you something? Is there somebody at the Internal Revenue Service that you've just decided you're so madly in love with that you want to leave them a whole bunch of your money? When did you decide, when you set this up, that the primary beneficiary of your IRA, your 401k, your 403b, your 457 plan was going to be the Internal Revenue Service? And I never say IRS or Uncle Sam. He's not a member of my family, and I want it to hurt. The IRS is not good enough. The Internal Revenue Service, the government is coming to get you. Make it hurt. And so you ask them, you say, have you ever done the math? Let's say you got $400,000 of money in an IRA, and taxes are being raised all over the place. And when you die, the interesting thing is that the children don't pay taxes on the money they inherit from you at your tax rate. They pay it at their tax rate. They're usually making wonderful money, and you pile this on top of what they make, and they get killed. So watch, $400,000. If they pay just 40% tax, and that's going to be a low tax if you're paying attention. 40% of 400,000 is 160,000. That leaves 240 divided by 2 kids. That means each of your children gets $120,000. So the Internal Revenue Service is the primary beneficiary of what you worked your whole life for. And if I can go a step further, most people, they start with 200,000, they build it to 400,000. Watch this. And if they pay 160,000 in income taxes, guess what? They have been an income tax collector for the Internal Revenue Service for most of their entire life, because the government's going to take back just about everything they've earned when they finally pass it on to their children and their grandchildren if you don't do any planning. And that's what's so exciting about all of these questions. Question number 10, with everybody losing their jobs right now, I go up to people all the time and I say, can I ask you something? Be honest now. I'm not goofing around. And see, I'm trying to have a conversation with them, and I say, if you lost your job for 30 years, would that hurt you and your family? They go, oh, come on, are you kidding? Yeah, of course it would hurt my family. And I say, well, think about it for a minute. Isn't that retirement? When you retire at 65, if you die at 70, we going to have any trouble planning your retirement? No. But if you retire at 65 and you live till you're 95 and you run out of money when you're 72 years old, can I ask you something? What do you think the rest of your life would be like? And what if all you had to do is a little bit of planning to set up a guaranteed income that you couldn't outlive? When would you want to know about that? Here's another easy question. With everybody concerned about all the advice they're getting, you walk up to people all the time and you say, do you have enough confidence in your current advisor to get a second opinion? Some of them will say yes. And then you say, okay, I'll see you tomorrow at 7. It's fast, boom, easy. But if you say, do you have enough confidence in your current advisor to get a second opinion? And they say no, you say, come on, you had a bad experience in the last downturn. I don't say lose money, had a bad experience. What if you could set it up so that in the future, all you would have is good experiences whenever all of these things happen? Wouldn't that be worth 45 minutes of your time if I promised you? I promised on my children, I'm not going to try and sell you anything. All I'm going to do is ask you some questions that I hope will inspire you to get in control of your financial and your retirement future. If there's no cost or obligation, wouldn't that be worth 45 minutes of your time? Now, I hope you're listening to me. I got one more question, then I'm going to close this because I want to end exactly on time. I want to be respectful to the other wonderful speakers. Question number 30 is my favorite question. I walk up to everybody, 50 years old and older, and I say, if I could show you a way to stay in complete control of your money until you took your last breath, but instead of giving that money to the government or a nursing home or a hospital, that you would be able to keep that money in your family for generations to come. Come on, at the very least, if there was no cost or obligation, I swear to you, I'm not going to try and sell you anything. I'm just going to ask you these questions that'll help you clarify. Wouldn't that be worth, come on, at the very least, 45 minutes of your time? And you know what? You're not going to believe me, but it's the truth. I've asked that question 25,000 times, and I've never had anybody say no, ever. And the agents we teach it to, when they learn how to ask it in a conversational way, nobody ever says no to them. And so please, I'm almost out of time here. And so I want you to really understand something that's very, very important. When you go to the website, there'll be 40 questions. Somebody took care of me, everybody. I want to help. I believe on my website, it shows my cell phone number. So here's what I'm telling you. If you will text me ahead of time, not call me, because I'll be in appointments and we'll play phone tag until, but if you text me and say, I'd love to talk to you, Van, here's a couple of times that you could call me, then I will call you back and I will practice with you. I want to help. Somebody took care of me. And please, what's in it for Van? Practice. After I practice with you and then I go and run 2 or 3 appointments, you don't want to be the person that I'm calling on, because you better have your checkbook out and you better be ready to do business. And that's what I want you to understand. When you ask questions, you become very powerful. When you tell people things, you become a salesperson. America loves to buy. America hates to be sold. And at this time, America needs what you all do to the best of your ability. It's the greatest time ever to be an insurance and financial professional, and it is the greatest time ever to sell cash value life insurance. Thank you for allowing me to share some time with you. You're all wonderful. Please, questions, questions, questions. Thanks very much. Take care.